So for this project we'll need a piece of card 9 by 12. I've used a Lilac Coordinations card for mine, and we'll need to score it at 3 and at 6. This is going to make the inside of our box, and that's your short side at the top. So turn it round, put the 12-inch side at the top, and then we're going to score it at 3 inches, 4.5 inches, 6 inches and 9 inches. So you're going to end up with your card scored in that way. With your 6-inch edge on your left hand side and your 3 squares of 3 inches and then your 2 lots of squares or rectangles of 1.5 inches there. So come along at the bottom, your 3-inch square you've got, then you've got a 1.5 and a 1.5. On that second 1.5, go up to the score line and then measure down. With your 6-inch edge on your left hand side and your 3 squares of 3 inches and then your 2 lots of squares or rectangles of 1.5 inches there. So come along at the bottom, your 3-inch square you've got, then you've got a 1.5 and a 1.5. On that second 1.5, go up to the score line and then measure down 1 inch. From that score line, and draw a pencil line across. So where you've made your pencil line, follow that up, and at the top box measure 1 inch up both sides and then pop a line across. So now you should have this. I'll show it you there so you can see the score lines and the pencil lines. Turn it round again. At the end of this pencil line we want to make a little mark into that next 3-inch box. On the same box we need to make a little measurement 1 inch on the edge, miss the middle box, and then the top box we're going to do the same, an inch line from that score line, and just make a mark and take that pencil mark over slightly. So that's what you'll end up with. You've got your 2 marks you made at first, the little pencil line you took across into that box, the 1-inch pencil lines top and bottom on that line of boxes. So then what we'll do, I'm going to draw some lines on mine. These are the squares you're going to cut away. So we're going to cut away that one, this one. Leaving that as a tab, we're going to cut that one away. This we're going to actually leave for now, and this one on the end is cut away. So if we do that first, I'll show you that now. And I'll cut away the ones we need to cut away. So let's start from that side again with your 3-inch box and then your 2 1.5-inch boxes, and we're going to cut that first box, second box away. Let's do that first. You can do it with your craft knife or your scissors, whichever you like. I prefer to do it with a craft knife, but I'm doing this to be quick. So you're left with that. Then you've got your pencil line you made. Cut up that pencil line to the next box, to that next score line. and cut that away. Then you're left with that. Then you cut away that very last box at the bottom, 3x3 box. I'm calling it a box because it's square, but you know what I mean, square. Cut away this one, that one. I'm hoping you're seeing what I'm doing here. This below the pencil mark that you made, we're going to leave this one in place for now, and then we're going to cut off that bottom 3-inch. So we cut those two away first. Keep these scraps for doing some stamping and things on. Cut the bottom piece where you drew the pencil line, and then that last 3-inch square. So when you've finished doing your cutting, you're going to actually be left with this. So you'll have a 3-inch square there, your 3-inch squares in a row there, 3-inch rectangle there with your 2 tabs each side, another 1.5-inch rectangle, they're 1.5 inches by 3 inches, those 2 rectangles, and then on the end another 3-inch square. And that's what your template will be like. So then we're just going to cut across the edge of that tab, turn it round and cut across the edge of that tab. We're not going to cut any slithers off there, we don't need to at the moment, and that's fine. This will be the bottom of your box, this one at the top. That will be the back. This will be the 2 top panels, and this will be your front flap. These 2 will be tabs, and these 2 will be your sides. So what you want to do then is to take that inside there. I'm just going to reinforce the score lines now. This is getting a little bit messy, this one. I'm going to have to get some sort of tool to do my scoring, reinforcing with. I have got a proper bone folder somewhere, but goodness knows where it is. As you know, if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm the most untidy person in the world, most unorganised person in the world. so once you've scored all those lines, just to reinforce them a bit more than they already are. That's that. We'll have that. I've gone on and inked my surfaces up. I've left the 2 tabs without any ink on for now. You can use whatever you want to. If you want to use the same colours as I did, I've used Dusty Concord, Stormy Sky, Pumice Stone and Frayed Burlap. And that's what I've used, but you can of course use anything. So I've stamped the image on there, that's this one, in that middle panel, and I've stamped the image again twice more on some white card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the door out of the one and the pebbles, and then I'm going to 3D those. I'm going to colour it with my Pro markers, and then I'm going to just cut out again the pebbles on that 3rd image and 3D that. So I'll go as far as cutting my door out and the pebbles on the first one and colouring it in, so you don't have to watch me do all that, and I'll come back to you. So as you can see, I've coloured the tree. I've gone over with brown and I've put a bit of Marvy on it as well and just textured it up. And I've not done the door because we need to do the door on the next layer, and I've done around the outside on the wood piece that goes around the outside of the door. And then on the next layer I just want to cut the door out, so I've used my Pro Markers and coloured that in, as I said. And then I've got one more layer. I don't need to do the stones on this one, although I will put them on. And then one more layer there that I've cut out of another image. And I've coloured those with the Pro Markers, and I've used Cool Grey 3 and Cool Grey 1 on that. On the door I used Cinnamon, Cocoa, Shale and Tan. And what we're trying to do is get a nice sort of 3D image. I'm just going to 3D square that and stick that on. Back now with that door 3D'd on one layer. I'm going to 3D the next layer, which came out of the same image as that one, onto there. Of course you don't need to colour that one in, only the edge, the few on the edge, which I'm just going to colour in more or less a dark grey all over. I'm not worrying too much about those. A little bit of so I'm just going to colour those in like that for now. And then what I'm going to do with the top layer is just cut a few of those stones off, just to give it a bit more depth. So we'll maybe cut those ends off, and I put some 3D squares on that, and then you can pop that on the top, and that'll really bring it out. So that's going to sit like that, so your stones come out further than your door. Then what you can do, just to put a little bit of foliage in, I'm not sure that's a very good colour, none of these are a very good colour, but anyway, let's just put some grass in, just flick a bit of foliage up around the stones. You can do some down here as well, because you would get little bits of foliage coming out. And don't go too mad, but